This is section 7.1, drawing triangles. So the first thing we've got here is just a little tidbit about triangles. So triangles are very strong. They're actually the strongest shape out there, so versus like circles and squares. The reason why is their force, like if you put pressure on them, it spreads evenly to all three of the sides. An example of where you might see this would be like in bridges. A lot of older metal bridges are built in the shapes of triangles versus like squares or rectangles or anything like that, because triangles are very strong and they're very supportive. Sufficient conditions is whenever a set of conditions is enough so that all figures created will be congruent. So if I list off a set of information, if you guys were all to draw the same exact, or if you guys were to draw a picture based on that information, everybody's picture should be the same exact size and the same exact shape. So if the description that I give you gives you all pictures same size and same shape, then it would be sufficient conditions. So what they're going to do is they're going to give us some different situations here, some different kind of like descriptions, and we've got to draw those shapes and see if everybody's shape looks exactly the same or not. So the first one here is activity 2, and they want us to know if 3 sides is going to be sufficient conditions or not. So if you want to follow the activity, it's on page 381. So the first thing it wants us to do is draw a line and call it M. So we're just going to take our straight edge and draw ourselves a line here. Something like that. And they want us to name it M, so just throw an M on it. Okay, and then somewhere near the middle of that line, I'm going to put a point A. And then what it wants me to do is it wants me to make a circle A1 with a radius of 5 centimeters. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this line M, I'm going to measure out to 5 centimeters, and I'm going to put a little mark there. So basically from that little mark back to A would be 5 centimeters. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my compass. So I'm going to take the stab end of my compass, put that on A, pencil end of my compass, and put that on that little mark I measured at 5 centimeters. So basically I'm making a circle with a radius of 5 centimeters. Something like that. And then it wants me to make another circle also coming off of A, and it wants this one to be 6 centimeters. So I'm going to measure off of A, and this time I'm going to measure at 6 centimeters. Or really that would just be an extra centimeter out from that one we had before. So that mark there is at 6 centimeters, and then I'm just going to do the same thing. Stab on A, pencil out on the 6 centimeter mark, and make my circle around there. Okay, so we got 2 circles coming off of A, one at 5 centimeters radius and one at 6 centimeters radius. Then the next thing they're going to want us to do here is they're going to want us to make a 3rd circle, and this one we're going to make off of B. So I was supposed to label in here my first circle when I made all the way around. My intersections with that original line were supposed to be B and C. I forgot to label those. Okay, so then what it wants us to do is it wants us to make a circle B that's 2 centimeters. So basically now my stab end is going to be on B, and I want to go off 2 centimeters. So I'm just going to take and use that same line M that I've been using, and I'm going to measure 2 centimeters away from B here. And now my stab is going to go on B because I want that to be the center of my circle. Pencil on that 2 centimeter mark. And make, oops. And make that circle there. Oops. A little bad on me. Okay, close enough. Okay, and then what it wants us to do for the next thing is it wants us to take and mark the intersection of the 2nd circle we made, so the biggest one here, with that smallest circle we made. And we want to name those intersection spots D and E. Okay, so then what it wants us to do from here is it wants us to make a triangle then. So it wants us to take and connect the A, B, and the D. So I'm going to make a line between the A and the D. B and the D. And there's already a line there, but between those guys too. Okay, so what this makes then is this should make a triangle that is 5 centimeters, 2 centimeters, and 6, because from A to B we measured that to be 5 for that circle there. We also measured from A out to the bigger circle to be 6, so this point D here that's on the bigger circle, A to D is a radius of the bigger circle, so that side would be 6 centimeters, this one's 5 here. And then this smaller circle here, when we measured B out to our point here, that was 2 centimeters. So B out to D would also be 2 centimeters because that's also a radius. Okay, so we've got those there. And then the next thing it wants us to do is figure out the angle measures of our triangle. So I'm just going to take my protractor then, and I'm going to line up my 0, 180 line with the line from A to B, center of my protractor on A. And I'm going to look out there, and it looks like it's maybe about at like 19-ish, somewhere in there, so that would be angle A. It's about 19 degrees. Angle B here, going to do the same thing. So center on B, 0, 180 line on the line going from B to A. And that looks like following out there maybe 111, 112-ish. Let's go 112. So angle B, 112 degrees. And then the last one here, measure an angle D. So I'm going to put the center on D, 0, 180 going out to B. And then that one looks like it's almost about right on 130. To get it to actually add to 180, I'm almost going to have to go 129. Or not 129, shoot, I'm adding wrong. This is actually an acute one. This is a small one here, so I'm actually at 50, so I need to be at 49. So angle D be at 49 degrees, just so those add up to 180, but, you know, it might be off by a little bit. Okay, so what we should get out of that is if you did it and measured your angles out, your angles should come out to be about exactly the same here. So what that tells us is if you're given 3 side lengths, that would be sufficient conditions. Because if you do that same process and make a 2 centimeter side, 6 centimeters, and 5 centimeters, your angles will also match up with that as well. Okay, so side, side, side is sufficient conditions. If you did need to make another triangle off of this picture here, you could have also connected out to point E here. So if I would have connected there and then connected back to there, that would also be a 2 centimeter side, a 6 centimeter side, and then the same 5 centimeter side. So that would be another one that would basically be congruent to that one there. Okay? Alright, next thing we've got here is activity 3, which they're going to give us 3 angles to make a triangle, and we're supposed to figure out if it's sufficient conditions or not. Okay, so the 3 angles that they give us are 90, 50, and 40. Okay, so I'm going to start with my 90 degree angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start with a line. And then on one of the ends of my line, I'm just going to put a point there, just so I have something to measure off of. And I'm going to measure it out 90 degrees. So I'm going to go, center my protractor on that point, 0, 180 on the line, go to 90, put a mark, and shoot a line up. Okay, so that should be 90 degrees. And then I've also got a 50 and a 40 degree angle I need to make, so I'm just going to go to one of the ends of my line here. So right there, maybe I shouldn't have made my line so long. But I'm going to go to the other end here and I'm going to measure one of those, so I'll just do the 40. So I'm going to go 0, 180 on the line across the bottom there. Center of it on that end point, and then I'm going to go to 40 and make a mark. And then I'm going to shoot my line from the end there out through my mark. Hopefully my protractor's long enough here. Something like that. So that would be 40 degrees, and then the angle that it makes here, if that's 90 and that's 40, this one should be 50 to be able to add to 180, and you could do a quick check of it there, just to kind of line up there, and it should look like it's about 50 degrees. So now what they want to know here is if angle, angle, angle is sufficient conditions. So what I could do to check that is I could take and I could measure my side lengths and then compare them to someone else who made a triangle out of these same angle measures. So what should happen here is if you go and you measure your sides, they shouldn't be the same as mine. So like mine here is about 6.2-ish centimeters. This side, about 5.2-ish. And then this one here is 8.2-ish. So if you went and measured yours probably more than likely don't match up exactly with that, okay? Reason being is this is not sufficient conditions, because what I could have done is I could have maybe had my second mark there, so use my 90 angle there, and measured my 40 off of that mark there. So like right out to that, and shot my line to that one there. So that would also be a 40 and a 50, but you can tell that this smaller triangle here and the big triangle there do not match up to be exactly the same. So for angle, 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 that is not sufficient conditions. So that would be no, okay? Because every triangle you make with that could be slightly different. Okay, next thing here is included angle. So it's an angle formed by two consecutive sides of a polygon. So basically, if we had some sort of, polygon here, triangle in this case, and we were talking about two consecutive sides, so like this side and this side, the included angle would be the angle that's in between those two sides that we're talking about. So that angle there would be the included angle, because that's the one that's in between the two sides we're talking about or making reference to. So this one, they're going to use an included angle. So basically they're going to give us two side measurements, so like this one, and then our included angle, they also give us the degree amount of that, and that's the degree amount in between those two side lengths that they gave us. Okay, so this is activity 4 if you want to look at that. And the angles that they get, or the angle they give us is 75 for A. Then they give us a side AB that is 4.5 centimeters and a side AC that is 3 centimeters. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with one of my sides so I have something to build off of. Say I just start with this side AB and make it 4.5 centimeters. So I'm just going to make a point A there and measure 4.5 centimeters from that point. That'd be about right there. And I'm going to shoot a line there. So that would be 4.5 centimeters. Write that in. And this other point here would be B. Okay, and then my other side here, AC, is going to be 3 centimeters, so I'm going to have some line coming off of here to get a C point here that's going to be 3 centimeters away. But to figure out where I need to put that, whether it's going to be over here or over here, I need to use that 75-degree angle that's going to be at angle A. So at the A, I'm going to use my protractor and measure 75 degrees. So 0, 180 on the line AB. A on my center of my protractor, go out to 75, which would be acute, make a mark, and then shoot my line from A to that mark, and that would be our 75-degree angle. And then from here, to get where our C is going to be at on this line, then we just measure our 3 centimeters. So from the A, go out 3 centimeters, stick a point, and that would be our C. So this side here, 3 centimeters. And then if I shoot back C to B, that would finish off my triangle. Okay. Now they want to know if side angle side is sufficient conditions. So here we've got a side, in between the two sides is an angle, and then another side there. Everyone's triangle in this case should be exactly the same, so this would be yes, it would be sufficient conditions. Okay, and we'll do some theorems in the next section that actually kind of help you figure out if it's sufficient or not. Okay, so the book page we've got here is, I'm going to change this a little bit here, so we're going to go 3 to 9 all, 10 to 16 even, but we're going to get rid of 12B, and we're going to get rid of number 25. Okay, so 3 to 9 all, 10 to 16 even, but get rid of 12B.